Hi everyone and welcome back. So I thought that I'd use the opportunity today to just give you a little update on the plot here and just show you what's growing and give you a little tour. So there's been a few things that I've changed. I'm not showing you this plot for a while, so I'm going to do that today, and also I've got some jobs to do. So one of the jobs I've got to do, I've put in some pea fencing here, and on this fencing is going to be the Monge 2. So I really want to get that in today. So let's get that done first. One of the jobs I want to do, but it's actually starting to rain, but I'm just going to get on with it. The other thing that I've got to do, I've just bought, let me show you. So literally I was just shopping some dog food and I saw these. This one's been a little bit neglected. It's a little bit dry, but I'm just going to give it water and then put it in the ground. And then the idea is to grow it up this trellis here, so hopefully that'll come to plan and I'll be able to grow the honeysuckle up the arches and the trellis. So I'm going to get them in now. It's literally going to start to rain.
Come a little closer, I want to dance with you. Everything's moving slower, I don't know what it is you do. I've been looking at you all night, trying to figure you out. I just want to make you smile. Hold your hand in my hand, looking at the sunset. Man, you're looking good tonight. I want to kiss you before the sun goes down. It's what you're doing, making me feel like I'm falling. And when you're moving, I can hear my calling. There's no one else here that I see but you. It's what you're doing that's making me feel like I'm falling. Yeah, I'm falling in love. You set my wheels in motion.
There we go. So that is both the honeysuckle in, and it's literally going to grow up this trellis here. And then if I show you the other, just over here, and again up the other side. So I've been debating what to put in those two sides there, because originally I was going to grow little pumpkins up them, but I'm growing the big pumpkins this year, so I didn't want to grow too many pumpkins. So yeah, I think that will be a good addition to the plot. Plus I don't have many shrubs here, so I'm gonna plant 2 roses, but I just wanted a bit more flower, a bit more colour just for the summer, and that should, fingers crossed, add a bit of colour and bring the bees in. So taking a look at the plot, it's all looking really green and I'm really pleased with it. Coming over here, we have got the start of the sunflower flowers. It looks like this is actually going to be a head on the sunflower. I've not grown sunflowers before, so I don't actually know what they look like when they start to flower, but that to me does look like the start of the sunflower heads, which is great, because hopefully they will be really nice again for the bees in the summertime, so fingers crossed. But coming over here, this is actually going to be my whole herb / flower bed here. So we've got the I think this was a blueberry that I planted, or a blackberry. Actually, I think it's a black currant. Thinking of it, it's a black currant. And then coming over here, we've got the cosmos. Again, a couple of weeds in this bed, but not too much of a problem. And then I've got the start of the garlic chives, which are just coming up here. Can't actually remember what this was, but it is a herb, not too sure what. Actually, that said, it's rocket sweet. There you go. I assume that is a herb. Again, we've got the cosmos here, which is coming up, and this is actually a weed. I do need to get on some weed in. Here I have my tomatoes. These I believe are tigerellas, but I haven't labelled them very well this year. So I believe they are tigerellas though. And then also in the bed you've got the gooseberry. I really like gooseberries. They're one of my favourite things to grow. They're really sweet, but I didn't net that particular plant and it has been attacked by the birds, so I haven't got any fruit this year. So it's just one of the things you learn on this plot. You learn where you are. My other plot doesn't have that problem, so I haven't netted them. This one obviously does. So we shall see. But it was a plant that was actually given to me by one of the allotment neighbours as well. So yeah, it's nice to have it. It wasn't here before. It was a gift, as I say, an unwanted gift by somebody else, and now I've got it. So we shall see. Next year I will net it and hopefully get some gooseberries off it. So this here is the garlic bed, just alongside the herb bed just here. Now, garlic this year, I don't normally have a problem growing garlic, but this really hasn't done well. So the garlic just really hasn't done well at all. And this was some that I actually pulled up. So the bulbs are quite small. So I don't think they've even split. The bulbs are quite small. And I don't think they've split. I really don't. So I'm going to leave them in for a little bit. But these, I don't know what you think, but let me know in the comments, because this, I don't think is great at this plot. But that said, harvested the garlic at the other plot and that's looking great. So that's one of the reasons I grow some bits here and some at the other plot, because then if I do get a failed harvest, then at least I have a backup crop, and that's exactly what's happened this year. So that seems to work well for me. Right, coming over to the greenhouse. Let me show you in the greenhouse. So the tomatoes in the greenhouse have gone a little bit crazy. So I need to really sort these out a little bit and just cut them back, because as you can see, they're actually starting to take over the greenhouse. And I've got some onions growing underneath there. Just under here, there are some onions growing in here. And I think they're just getting a little bit swamped. I think the onions are just getting a little bit swamped. So I do just need to chop them back a bit. So we will get that done. But other than that, in here, quite happy. These are the peas I'm going to plant out. So the peas, these are not peas, sorry. These are mange chou. And these are what I'm going to grow up those fences that I have just hammered into the ground. My really kind plot neighbours lent me their mallets, because I don't have one. He saw me trying to hammer them in with like a piece of wood. And he was like, do you want to borrow a mallet? So, and that's why I like allotments, because it's just a community. You see someone struggling, you just run over and think, I've got something they might want or need, or just something I can lend them, just to give them a hand. And that is why I love my allotment and my allotment community. So, yes. Coming over the other side of the greenhouse, we have also got the remainder of the onions. So I planted a lot of onions in this bed, just alongside, just a bit of companion planting, as you can see. And coming in, they're actually looking really great. These are Hercules onions, and they're just looking great. I'm really pleased. So just behind here is a pepper. These are some peppers that were sent to me by Ali to sow. So thank you for that, Ali. And just coming over here is the Red Bull's horn that Ali sent me. Again, this is coming up really well. So really pleased with that. And then just behind, we've got one of the bell peppers just here. So one of the things I found that worked really well is to put in where I've installed the automatic watering system here. You can see the pipes coming in from the water butt. What I've actually done is put feed in the water butt at the same time. So not only does it water it at the same time, it also feeds them. So they're constantly getting a good feed. And I think that's why the tomatoes have gone a little bit crazy in here. But yes, a bit of an idea that I got from somebody. I believe it was Danny that told me that. So yes. And I'll try to send some tomatoes over to you as well. So we'll get that done. Coming out the greenhouse, just showing you the rest of the plot. So this is the courgette and pumpkin bed. So over here, I have planted So over here I've planted 3 sweet corns just here. They're the only ones that came up. Know that you have to put them in a block formation so they pollinate. So I only had 3 sweet corns come up. These 1, 2, 3. So I planted them 1, 2, 3. So I planted them in a bit of a block formation, a bit of a triangle. So fingers crossed the triangle, because I know they should be in a block because they are wind pollinated, but fingers crossed that triangle just gets them a little bit pollinated. So this is one of the courgettes, and this is the other. It's starting to get some flowers will show it now, and I think coming in here, yes, they've actually got one of the courgettes starting to form just there, which is a baby courgette. Here, this is the pumpkin that I'm growing for the pumpkin challenge that I'm running. This is the start of the flower, so this is actually a pumpkin Big Max. So it's one of those varieties that hopefully will just get really big for Halloween, so it can be decorated. And that's the only pumpkin that I've got this year. I've only grown the one. As I say, I did grow the baby ones last year, but I've decided not to grow them this year. I'm putting the honeysuckle over the arches instead. A bit more long term, bit more pollinator friendly. So that is the pumpkin / squash bed, plus sweet corn in the middle, just growing there with the 2 squashes at the end. I've actually put some strolch on the bottom of this bed just because it was starting to get a few snails coming into it, so I'm really pleased. So the beds and everything have just had a really good mulch, just so they've keep some of the water retention in it, because everything was just starting to dry out and there was water in it and it was drying out, and just horrendous heat we've had. But it looks like it's actually raining. Ta-da! So this was the broad beans that I sowed, and they've actually got, let me show you. Look, covered in black fly. So I did wash these off with some soapy water, but you can see coming to another one, they're just covered in black fly. See, it's covered, so I just need something to get rid of it. Let me know in the comments what you think, what you would get rid of black fly. I've tried to say the washing up liquid, and I've tried rubbing off and squishing them, and they've just come back. So let me know what you would do if that was your plant that you were looking at. One thing that's come up brilliantly for the bees is this lavender. Again, it's in the herb bed because the lavender is classed as a herb, but I've got some here, and then alongside the sunflowers I've also got some lavender growing, and this is just being covered in bees, and you can see now, look. So these raspberries here are summer fruiting, and you can start to see, actually, look, some of them are actually starting to be ready, which is great. There's one over here that's ready. I'm actually just gonna take him off. I do find with things at the plot like this, but all in all, I'm really pleased with these raspberries that are growing. These are their 2nd year, so hopefully they will start to grow brilliantly. In here, just alongside, we've got, just in this bed here, is the swede. So these are all Helena swedes. If I come in, so these are the Helena swedes in this bed, and they're trying to show you through the mesh, but they are starting to come up. So that is the swede that I'm growing for Danny, his Swede Bega Challenge 2023. Fingers crossed they do well. They seem to be doing all right. I've got some in another bed as well, so show you those ones in a second. In this bed here, so we've got some beans here. These are runner beans. I haven't, as you noticed, put them up the canes at the moment, and there's a reason for that. I haven't got any. So yes, that is the reason, but I will be getting them soon. Trip to the garden centre required for those. And then alongside, this is where the Monge 2 are going to go. So, as I say, I've just hammered in this fencing just so it can kind of support the Monge 2. Possibly might need to be a bit higher. We shall see. Coming here, in this bed, we have the lettuce at the back. So the lettuce is growing really nicely at the back there. And then just next to it, we've got the leeks, which you can see here and here, growing nicely. And then in the bed just alongside, we've got the potatoes. So these here, I've harvested already the first earlies. They were in this side here. These are the second earlies that I've got here. And I think this row here is actually another row of the first earlies. So all in all, the plot is starting to really look great, and I'm really pleased with this plot. Spent a lot of time here, and you can see it's just really starting to green up. So one of the other things I've added is a seating area, and I've added these hanging baskets into the equation. I've actually added 2, one behind me there. They are fuchsia hanging baskets. Again, I've just nabbed these from the supermarket when I was in there. They were just dying for me to buy them, so they've both been bought today, and you can see the other one just over here. So this here is the addition of my new seating area alongside my shed. So it's got a little bit more work to do, but it's just a start in progress. But this is where I now sit, just so I can admire. That is now where I have a seating area. I didn't really have a seating area here, so I could sit and just ponder, and now I do. So I'm really pleased with that addition. And lastly, coming over here, we've got the cucumber and the bean beds. So these are bush beans that are just around the edge here. And then at the back here, we've got the cucumbers. So these are the cucumbers, and these are Market More cucumbers. And at the back here, there is actually the start of a cucumber. And there's a couple of others that are starting to sort of grow as well. So the cucumbers looking great. They were getting a bit bashed by the birds, so I've just added these little windmills into the equation just to help. And the windmills do seem to be keeping the birds off a little bit more than what they were before. So that's great, and I'm really pleased with the cucumbers. Then lastly, just next to the broad bean bed, we have the kalettes and the swede. So coming here, these are the kalettes with the Kalette Crazy 2023. Really happy with these because I almost lost them because I didn't net them, but they've got some lovely growth. I'll show you the ones at the back there. This does need a bit of a weed, but really happy with these. Then in the front, we've got the swede just here. And again, that's for the Sway the Baker Challenge 2023 for Danny at the Grapevine Garden. Trying to show you through the netting the actual start of the swedes, but Helena swedes these are also. So that is the allotment at this plot and at this garden. So I think I'm really happy with it. I'm really pleased with how this plot is coming out. So yes, it's one of those great things that you just sit back and you admire your work when you're sort of working. And to top it off, it's actually really, really raining. Finally, is all I can say. Finally. But yes, thank you for watching, everybody. And I will see you again in a week's time. Take care. Bye for now.